And we are live. What's good, Josh? Your man, DL Saint. Welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. Late night edition. Just doing an extra one here, guys. I don't know if you guys are aware. You probably are. Um, a lot of people don't watch mainstream media anymore, so maybe you haven't heard. But in Charlotte, North Carolina, um, there has been an incident where multiple law enforcement agents, federal agents and local law enforcement have been uh fatally shot serving a warrant. And bro, like, this is crazy. It's I've kind of been keeping my eye on it, man. There's been a lot going on with law enforcement with deadly force. Um yeah, man. Let's just get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Yeah, guys, I definitely want to talk about this. I'm gonna be as brief as I can. I promised Raging Tomato. I promised the sis that I would jump on her stream tonight, and she hasn't started streaming yet. And she normally needs time before she goes to the panel, so I'm gonna go over there, and it's definitely gonna be it's gonna be an experience. I kind of looked at what she's doing over there, looked at her content. It's definitely gonna be an experience. But before we get over there, wanted to talk about this incident. Um, law enforcement is a very tough job. You guys know I'm not one of those back to blue kind of guys. I've had my experiences with law enforcement, especially in Cincinnati, Ohio, man, Hamilton County CPD. Cincinnati Police Department. Not the greatest fan, but I do understand that law enforcement is necessary. I do understand the policing now that they have to wear body cams and stuff like that has gotten a little bit better. Not a lot, but a little bit better. I do understand that now police officers are being held to the same law that they uphold. So, for those police officers that out there who are breaking the law or getting caught and have to, answer for their crimes. But what's going on now is just insane. It's just, I got three. We're not going to read all three articles, but we're going to read what happened here in Charlotte, and then I want to point out something to you guys. There's some other stuff that's going on, but check this out. 3 law enforcement officers killed in shooting at Charlotte, North Carolina residents. 5 other officers shot and injured. Right, and one of those officers, one of the 5, is critically injured. So you don't know how that's going to go. This is CNN. This is today, of course. 3 officers were killed in a shooting while attempting to serve a warrant at a home in Charlotte, North Carolina, including 1 deputy U.S. Marshal and 2 local task force officers, authorities say. The total of 8 law enforcement officers were shot during the incident. Charlotte Police Chief Johnny Jenkins said at a Monday evening news conference, he described the shooting as the most tragic one he had been involved with in his 32-year-long law enforcement career. And I can believe that. Most police officers don't have to fire their weapon, have to draw their weapon. I'm always talking about the need for law enforcement to have better training, better basic training. What is that? Like, the one officer who was lost was a federal agent. The other 2 were local law enforcement guys who were on the task force, which means they just volunteered and stepped up. I don't know if they got additional training for this, but they're part of the fugitive apprehension team or whatever. These are the guys who go out, the guys and girls who go out and they get criminals. They were serving a warrant for, like it's a fugitive arrest warrant for a fugitive with a gun or something like that, man. So let's get back into it. The shootings unfolded in the 5,000 block of Galway Drive as members of the U.S. Marshal Fugitive Task Force were serving a warrant for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, Jenkins said. So that's right there. That's dangerous. I mean, you're going after people. You're going after a convicted felon, bro. They could pop. The officers were met with gunfire from a high-powered rifle and return fire, fatally shooting a suspect in front of the yard of the house. Marshals have been serving a warrant to that suspect. So the U.S. Marshals was serving a warrant to the suspect. He opened fire. Law enforcement returned fire, and they were able to stop the suspect. They shot him and killed him. As officers approached, they received additional gunfire from inside the residence, the police chief said. So they went to serve a warrant. They see the guy that they're looking for. He somehow is in the front yard. He has a shoulder-fired weapon. High-powered rifle is the term they use. And he engaged law enforcement, and he shot, he fired at law enforcement. They returned fire. And they engaged the guy. He was down. As they approached the guy who's laying there, as they approached their subjects, he's down. They received fire from the house. So additional gunshots from inside the residence, and 3 members of the U.S. Marshal Task Force were killed. The U.S. Marshal Service confirmed one of the dead was a deputy U.S. Marshal. So this is why I'm always screaming training. Most law enforcement in this country, especially with a shots fired situation, sounds like they're pretty up to speed and trained pretty good on how to handle that initial threat. So this guy has a rifle. They fire on a guy who, whatever happened. I'm pretty sure they told him to drop his weapon or whatever. The guy decides to fire. They return fire. They do their thing. Once the subject is down, they all approach. This is where additional training could come into play. And again, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know how they're trained either. But I can see how law enforcement is like, all right, this is the bad guy. This is who we're looking for. He's down. Let's go up and get him. And everyone comes from behind cover. Everyone comes out. They just kind of walk up there. They're going to do their thing, watching him. They got to do whatever they got to do. As they approach, there's people in the house apparently who they got weapons too, and they fire. And this is when the damage was done. Right? This is definitely something that they're going to have to work into their training. I don't know if this is already addressed. I don't know. I don't know. It's different for military types. It's different for us. I don't know what their training is, but they engaged the suspect. Someone fired at them. They did their job. They engaged that target. They put that target down. And as they approached the target, someone from inside the house fired on them. And that was the person or persons who did the damage. Right. So 4 Charlotte police officers were also shot, including one who was in critical condition, fighting for his life in the hospital. The police chief said the other officers are in stable condition. The chief did not name the officers as authorities are working to notify their families. There are also 2 people of interest being questioned by the police. When authorities cleared the residence, a 17-year-old and a woman came out, but could not confirm whether either of the 2 were suspects. We are very early in the investigation, he added. CMPT will lead the investigation. We still have a lot to uncover, a lot of questions that are not answered right now. The chief said he could not recall a worse incident in the Charlotte area. Bro, this is what I'm talking about. Law enforcement is a daily job to begin with, and you add to it the mediocre training at best that the average law enforcement official is going to get, the average cop. The feds get more intense training depending on what agency they're with and what their job is. But the average police officer, they don't really get that much training. The pay is not nearly sufficient, in my opinion, for what they're up against. And this is what these people are up against every single day. You just never know when someone can jump out of a car or jump out of a house or jump from behind a tree with a weapon and start firing at you. This is just crazy. Brother Cody is King is in the building. What's good, Cody? Let me show you your respect. Like, why were they raiding that house? They were after a suspect. They were serving a warrant for a fugitive with a firearm, something like that. It was in the article. So the person that they were looking for was the person who initiated the fire from the beginning. According to the article, the person they were looking for to serve the warrant on, a fugitive who had the firearm, which is illegal in America. If you're a fugitive, you can't have a firearm. He was in the front yard. Apparently, that suspect was in the front yard. That suspect fired on the officers, the task force, as they walked up. and the task force returned fire, and they put him down. They did their job. They neutralized the target. Once that was done, they approached the subject while he was down. Allegedly, he was, they shot and killed him, but they're approaching to determine exactly what's going on. And as they walk up on the body, shots were fired from inside the house. And it was whoever was inside the house, the person or persons inside the house, that's who did all the damage. That's who hit all of the law enforcement guys, including the three that were shot and killed, and then a handful of others. And then they went into the house. I guess after they did whatever. I mean, there's all sorts of video out there, bro. Multiple rounds were fired. People are saying it was more than 100 rounds fired, probably, hundreds of rounds fired. Of course, huge police presence, like, every available police officer, law enforcement official in the area, came. And, it took a while. So they cleared the house. Allegedly, they got a woman and a 17-year-old who right now they're not being named a suspect. So whoever did the firing may have gotten away. They don't know. They're looking into this. And the FBI is also there as well. And again, this is why law enforcement needs the best possible training. At least their basic training should be far superior to anything out there. Their basic training should rival the training that the Navy and the Air Force gets. At least that, it should be on par with Army and Marine Corps training. But, again, it's two separate missions. It's just two separate missions, Brother Cody's like, the pay is more than the equal level of competence required. I agree, cops should be paid more, but they need to be liable, know immunity, and must know the rights of all land and the law, land and the law which they try to enforce. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. And the basic training should encompass all that. When a law enforcement official goes through the program, they make it. It should be a tough program. It should be a high failure rate in that program. When they come out, they should know the laws. It shouldn't be any of this making up stuff and just trying to strong arm people. That shouldn't be the case. It should be a hard job to keep. You should have to stay in shape. You should have to stay sharp, right? And the pay should reflect that. I agree with you 100%, bro. 100%. We need better, more competent law enforcement. We need the best and brightest. You're not going to get that paying them, $15, $16, $20 an hour, giving them a few hours of training. I mean, I think it's embarrassing that, you have law enforcement officials in a city like Los Angeles who go through all that training and are handed an assault weapon and don't even know how to use it. They can't field strip it. I think that is ridiculous. And they should know the laws. They should know that citizens do not have to surrender their ID, and they should be taught the workaround. This is what they should be held accountable when they get into screaming matches with citizens. They should be held accountable when they arrest fire department members, when the firemen are out there trying to save lives. That's happened in California a couple times. CHP have put handcuffs on firemen while they're out there trying to save lives. This sort of thing shouldn't happen. And when they do, they should be held to account, not just to the fullest extent of the law, but they should be fired if, in fact, they violate a policy and procedure and stuff like that. It should be a very difficult job to get and even harder to keep. And it should be the best of the best. And they should get all of the perks and privileges that comes with that, which will be the pay and the time off and the downtime, so they can get the mental health that they need to continue to do their job. It's a very tough job. But the thing that I wanted to bring up is, bro, it's been a lot of police officers here in the States, down here in America, that have been getting shot and killed in the line of duty. Here's another one right here. I just wanted to bring this one up. This was in Chicago, man. Let me see, April 21st. There was a police officer who was shot multiple times shortly before 3 a.m. on April 21st in the city's southwest side. This is Chicago. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. The officer was in uniform, but wearing something on top of his uniform to cover it, as customary for off-duty officers. This guy was getting out of his car, and he was kind of ambushed. Looked like he was ambushed. Got out of his car. He was shot multiple times, and he died. And they're out looking for people who do it. The police has said officers responded to a gunshot detection alert and found the officer outside with gunshot wounds. His vehicle was taken, but police have not confirmed whether the shooting was part of a carjacking. They just don't know. And an arrest warrant in that particular case was issued last week for a 22-year-old man suspected in the shooting. All right. So what I wanted to point out was the date. That was April 21st. Right. So we have today, three law enforcement officials were shot and killed. Many more were shot and wounded. That's today. And then April 21st, we had a Chicago police officer who was off duty, going home, had his uniform on, but had it covered up. Like they said, that's customary. That's how they do it. And was shot and killed at 3 a.m. It's his house, trying to get into the crib. And again, training is not going to fix all this. Of course, it's not going to fix everything, but you want the best trained folks. And, I mean, bro, I don't have any answers for this. It's just, you look at what happened today. You look what happened April 21st, man. It's like, it's 8 days ago. It's last week, right? That was last week. And then there's another one in Memphis. This was in Memphis. This was April 12th, right? So April 12th in Memphis, police officers shot and killed while responding to suspicious vehicle report. One suspect is dead. Right? This was in Memphis. April 12th. April 12th, an officer was, and this one too was multiple officers were shot. One died. I think another one was wounded. April 12th, you have the Chicago shooting. And then today, April 29th, you have three officers who were, lost in line of duty, plus another, was it another 4 or 5? I think, I can't remember, but you have multiple injuries. Like, man, this is crazy. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, okay, what is going on in America where everybody is so on edge? Again, I'm not a huge advocate for law enforcement, bro, but we're talking about people who are poorly trained to begin with. They're watching this as well. They're seeing, like, man, police officers are getting popped. There was a police officer last week in LA. I think it was a LA County sheriff on his motorcycle in the middle of the street, broad daylight. Guy pulls up on him and shoots him in the back and drives off. They caught the guy in the San Diego area. Think about that, man. That police officer, he had his vest on. It worked. He was hurt, but he wasn't, it wasn't serious. But someone rolled up on him, man, and took a shot at him, bro. Like, it seems that someone is called open season on law enforcement. This is not a good thing. This is not a good thing. Like, we definitely need to be supporting these people who go out here. It's not their fault that they're poorly trained. It's not their fault that, they believe they're ready for what they're going to encounter out there. And they're not. We need law enforcement. Trust me, like, I don't want to be in a society where we got to fend for ourselves. I mean, I came up like that. If that's what we got to do, then I guess that's what we got to do. But we need law enforcement. We got to have it. The last thing I want, law enforcement people to be even more on edge, even more jumpy. I mean, it's bad enough, man. I've had so many stories of cops just afraid to be around us, but they're trying to prove a point and they have their weapons drawn. Like, bro, you better put that away, man. You better quit playing before something happened to you. Now it seems like the streets don't seem to care. Why? That's my thing. It's like, why? But yeah, I'm with you, Cody. I'm cool with them getting more, but you know what I mean? It is what it is. A little weakening of the big eggs and the little man's syndrome. Yeah, you got the little man syndrome and all that kind of stuff, man. Little winkling with the big egos. We got that. And proper training, you will filter those people out. You will filter those people out. Like, okay, you're not the right kind of guy for us. You're not the right kind of girl for us. We need someone. You might be too soft for this. You might be too hard for this. We're looking for people who are right in the middle. More people will go after these positions if the pay is competitive like that. If law enforcement is going to make $100,000 no matter where they are, which I think should be the case, no matter what small podunk town, you should be making $100,000 a year. But here's the thing: you're still going to have to qualify. You're still going to have to take tests. You're going to have to know the law. You're going to be held to account. Yeah, there might be people out there who are going to lie on you. You're going to be able to sit through that. Like, no, that's not what I did. You got your body camera on. You have the ability to defend yourself. I mean, in these big cities, yeah, man, these big cities, man, they should be well into the six figures, well into the six figures with the packages, what I mean, for mental health and the time off and all that kind of stuff. It's bro, we got to do something. Again, I'm not one of those back to blue type dudes, but we need law enforcement. As an old man, I understand that. Like, we need law enforcement out there, and I want the best and the brightest. Like, I'm cool here where I live in my neighborhood. We have really good, sheriffs here, but they definitely gonna treat me different because of the neighborhood I live in. They catch me somewhere else, they gonna treat me a little bit differently. That shouldn't be a thing. Everyone should get the exact same treatment. Yeah, you're gonna be dealing with the worst of the worst, the bottom of the barrel type people, but your training should be such that you maintain your frame, you just handle your business, and you do what you got to do. You're not gonna be talking crazy. You're not gonna be instigating stuff. You're not gonna be escalating things. Right? You're gonna be sitting back, taking care of business because that's the way you were trained. Basic training, and then you're gonna get even more training when you get to wherever your PD is, whatever city, municipality, or whatever. You're gonna get even more training. Like this thing here, you got to, you're going to pick up a person, a fugitive with a gun. You don't know what type of, history this guy has. You walk up on there, they dealt with the situation. They walked up on the guy, he did what he did, they dealt with him. They just wasn't prepared for someone else being in the house firing on them. Now, again, that's just part of training. You don't know how to handle that. The military does. Like, we know how to deal with it, but again, it's different. It's a different mission. It's a different thing entirely. But there has to be ways to get these men and women who want to get into this field the best possible training and the most support we can give them. Has to be a way. It has to be a way. I look at police officers all the time. Every time I see cops, they get more and more stuff on them dang on belts of theirs. They carrying more and more stuff. They don't need all that stuff. What's all that stuff they're carrying, bro? They don't need all that stuff on them. Like, why they keep getting? Every time I see a cop, man, they got more and more stuff on that belt. Like, you can't chase anybody. You can't be mobile in that belt. Like in the military, man, we had our web gear and we carried what we needed. Like, everything we had on us, we needed it. We needed on us. We're on a mission where we can't put this stuff anywhere. The minute we got to our log base, or the minute we got somewhere where we are stable, we're set up, we took all that stuff off. We're going out on a mission, man. We're going out on a sneak and peek or something like that. We ain't going out with all that stuff on us. We're going out there with bombs, bullets, and band-aids. That's it. We're not taking anything extra. And again, I know the mission is different, but bro, this is just something that, man, this is just, ooh, bro. It's just crazy. So yeah, I just wanted to jump on. I see Raging Tomatoes. She got her show started. I promised her I would come over there, and I want to get over there, and I want to yeah, I mean, I want to definitely keep my word and get over there and check her out. So I'm gonna do that, man. But I just wanted to make this quick. Just come on here real quick and just make that. I wasn't sure how long I was gonna go, and I didn't know if I was gonna go an hour, um, or what. But I just wanted to get on here. There's plenty of video out there. There's plenty of video of what happened. And it's just, top news right now, man. It's top news. This whole thing in Charlotte. Let's see. This video is 3 minutes. I'm gonna play this real quick. Hopefully they won't get mad at me for playing this video, but I'm gonna play it real quick just so you guys can see it. We're gonna end on this. Brother Cody's like, funny how cops are kitted out with lethal and non-lethal, that if anyone else were to use would be considered a deadly weapon. Yeah, that's bro. All that will be answered with the training. You're absolutely right. If I went out there with some of the stuff that the police have and I used it in a self-defense thing, or I assaulted someone with that stuff, yeah, man, it'd be assault with a deadly weapon. Absolutely. If that person would have died, it'd be manslaughter, if not higher. Absolutely. A lot of that stuff they don't need. You had the instance where you had the police officer who was a training police officer. She was one of the cops who trained the other cops, pulled her weapon and fired on a kid that they were trying to take into custody, pulled him over because he had expired tags or something. I forget what it was. Shot a young boy to death. And she thought she had her taser. She didn't know the difference between the taser and her weapon. I'm holding my 40 millimeter in my hand right now. It's holstered. I'm holding it. The weight of this weapon fully loaded is way different than the weight of a taser. How is it that you a police officer, not just a police officer, but a training officer, and you can't tell the difference? Well, she was excited. There was a lot going on. Man, I don't want to hear that. There was no y'all. It was a traffic stop. Y'all pulling this dude out the car. He's wiggling around because he doesn't want to get arrested. She pulls out her weapon, screams taser, 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 pulls the trigger and fire. I mean, that should never happen. Right? That's happened. We got multiple stories like that. That should never happen. Right. Right. You're right. She should not have tried to tase him in the first place, Brother Cody. You're right. It was two other police officers had it well in hand. What was she doing? Well, I mean, I don't understand that. Like, how are you gonna tase somebody and two of your fellow police officers holding on to the guy? Aren't you gonna tase all three? Isn't that how electricity works? but I'm gonna play this, guys. I'm gonna play this and then I'm gonna end it. And just make this one real quick. But man, oh man, this is local news affiliate Queen City News down there. It's Queen City News down there, and I'm just gonna play this for you guys.
From Mayor Vi Lyles. And I think for all of us, I mean, this is our jobs to cover the news, but my heart is beating so heavy right now when you think of 8 people who were injured, 4 people, U.S. Marshals who lost their lives, 4 CMPD officers. One, they said, is right now fighting for his life tonight, really allowing us to be able to kind of take this in and to be able to talk about this.
So I'm gonna run it back from the beginning, guys.
Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Chief Johnny Jennings and also Mayor Vi Lyles talk about the details of what unfolded today, way worse than what we have known. And we understand now that 8 law enforcement officers have been shot. 3 U.S. Marshals are dead. 1 also shot there. And then 4 CMPD officers have been shot, one of them in critical condition right now, that unfolded at this house on a fugitive warrant that was being served by U.S. Marshals at 1:30 this afternoon.
Yeah, and we actually got a little bit more information on the timeline that happened from Chief Johnny Jennings. So like you mentioned, they were serving that warrant around 1:30. And when those marshals approached the door, they were met with gunfire from a suspect. Officers returned fire, and we're learning they shot that suspect dead right in the front yard. And then they continued to take gunfire, Johnny Jennings said, even after they had set up a perimeter. And that is why we had this long standoff situation. They believe that there were 2 shooters total, a high-powered rifle involved at one point. They were able to make contact with 2 other people inside that home who are now undergoing questioning, 1 female and 1 juvenile inside the house. They're trying to decide, or they're trying to see who else they were taking gunfire from, who was inside that house. But 3 people total involved in that.
Yeah, and just an incredible situation.
So there you have it right there. We can't have law enforcement running around the streets trying to police when they're scared to death and poorly trained. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. We got to do something about it. I think the answer is better training and more pay. I think that will bring out the best and brightest. I think we should make law enforcement one of the most sought after positions, one of the most respected positions, one of the most highly paid positions, right? And one of the most toughest jobs to keep. I mean, seriously, I really do. That's my take on it. I'm gonna leave it there. Brother Pablo's in the building. What's good, fam? We were talking about the police officer who shot and killed the driver, the teenager, the young man suspected of whatever. She thought she had her taser drawn. She had her service weapon drawn. She shot. She killed him. Did she lose her job, man? I don't remember. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't remember. But I am willing to bet that she was allowed to resign, so she wasn't fired, so she didn't have that on a record. I would have to go back and look at that particular case, bro. I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna go back and look in on that case. Next week, we're talking about law enforcement, bro. Like this week, we're gonna be talking about finance. Earlier today, we were talking about some red pill dating stuff, but we're gonna get into some more finance stuff. I found that video I was talking about earlier. I want to watch that video. George Gammon put out another video today. It was really good. So I want to talk about that. I was going to talk about that tonight, but I'm probably not going to jump back on tonight. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And we got some more dating stuff coming up on Wednesday. I have a brand new friend, someone I met in these YouTube streets, someone I only know through YouTube, She's going to come over here. We're going to have a talk about the A&E marketplace and where it is today from a female perspective. Very beautiful young woman. I met her on another brother's podcast, and she's agreed to come over here. So we're going to have that talk on Wednesday. That's going to be on Thursday. That's going to be on Thursday. So, but the rest of the week, we're going to be talking finance. And then next week, we're going to be talking about law enforcement, bro. It is what it is. So, and there it is, Brother Dino. Thank you, Brother Dino. Appreciate you, bro, coming through. And Brother Cody, like, yeah, because we didn't remember, man. So I didn't remember, but Brother Dino is saying, yeah, her name is Kimberly Porter. She was convicted of manslaughter for killing Dante Wright. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you. Because I couldn't remember. And then there was another incident. I think this was in Oklahoma. Maybe there was a guy who was pulled over. He had a flat tire. He had an SUV, was pulled over. Law enforcement rode up on him. He had his hands up. He's like walking. He's following. He's complying with the instructions. And the police officer shot him. And that's, that I didn't follow that one up either. But, the fact that Brother Dino was saying, the fact that this Kimberly Porter woman, not only was she held to account, but she's facing charges. Again, of course, I'm pretty sure she lost her job. They're going to come out there like that. Like Brother Curry, like, yeah, could still get hired somewhere else, man. I don't know that, but that should all be, rolled up into that training package and how we look at law enforcement. Law enforcement should come with some sort of federal certification, and in order to get your federal credentials, right, it follows you wherever you go. So if you're someone like this Kimberly Porter person, and you're involved in a wrongful death and you violated the rules of policing, then yeah, you can't go like from your small podunk town to another small podunk town because you won't be able to get the federal credential. So they definitely should do something like that. But again, they need bodies. They need people out here policing. They can't find people. And I think this is one of the many reasons that they'll take whoever they can get. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. Brother Pablo's like, yeah, right on. I appreciate Brother Dino coming through. Yeah, Kim Porter was the police instructor, right? She was the training officer. She's the one on the streets training these people. It was crazy. And that was 2021. Appreciate that, bro. Brother Pablo's like, he's like, I'm not into dating, but I like watching it. Hey man, here's what it is. I appreciate that, bro. Brother Cody, she said she was released after 16 months. Oh, said she was. Wow, she did 16 months and that's it. Wow, that's crazy. But that's just how it works. That's how, depends on how much time you get, and then they're going to let you out after you do a certain percentage and all that, good behavior and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, bro. She got 2 years released after 16 months. She did 16 to 24 months. Yep. It's crazy, bro. Brother Dino. If they told him to turn off the car, he wouldn't have tried to escape. Yeah, and that's a lot of that. Again, I put all that on training. We need proper training, and then we need to hold police officers to the highest possible standard. It can be done. It can be done. It's just you're only going to get so many people that are just going to go for a job that's as dangerous as being in law enforcement, and then not even getting paid right. You're not even getting paid. You're not getting properly trained. Why would you want that job? That's one job you can keep. I wouldn't want it. I'd rather get back into the military, man. Send me overseas somewhere and let me go by those rules. You know what I mean? Let me go by the Geneva Convention as opposed to coming over here and doing what cops are doing. And you got to deal with the bad cops, and you got to deal with the internal stuff that's going on. Like, look at what's going on in California with the sheriff department. They got just as many gangs in their sheriff department as they do on the streets. It's crazy, bro. Gang banging cops. You know what I mean? It's crazy. She nearly killed another officer on the other side of the car, bro. I chalk all that up to poor training. So I'm gonna have to leave it there, fellas. I'm going over to Raising Tomato. She's doing her thing. She's gonna do her panel. She just started right now. Oh, not right now. Looks like she's been on for a few minutes. What does it say? It started 28 minutes ago. So I'm gonna go listen to what she's talking about. I'm gonna jump on there. I saw a little bit of what they do and who's over there. Yeah, bro, it's gonna be it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing. I'm gonna jump in there and see what it do. We're not done talking about law enforcement stuff, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. I know we got the sisters out there ninja watching. You know what I mean? We're not gonna stop this. We're gonna continue next week, man. Next week, all I'm gonna be talking about is law enforcement. We're talking about law enforcement and red pill stuff. This week, we're talking about finance, what's going on with the American economy, and dating stuff. So we're just gonna try that for a while, but we definitely need to talk about what's going on in the street with law enforcement. I don't like seeing anyone get hurt, but we got to do something, bro. We got to do something. Like, why are people, popping off at the police, bro? Like they ain't even tripping. They just right out. They just doing it. It's called Raging Tomato. She's on YouTube. She has a YouTube channel, Raging Tomato. So I'm gonna go over there and check that out. Brother Pablo, we'll talk to you later, man. We'll see you. You know what I mean? Brother Dino, thanks for popping in, man. Hope all is well over there in UK. Brother Cody, hope everything, y'all holding it down up there in Canada. Man, I don't know what's going on up there in Canada, bro. I ain't gonna lie, man. You should move down here. You know what I mean? I appreciate y'all coming through, supporting the brother, man. Like I said, we're not done. We are not done. Talking about law enforcement. Mr. Minnesota 32, welcome. I've never seen you before. Welcome. You really should try to get in on the Fresh and Fit podcast. They rock with me, man. They rock with me. Those are my homeboys, man. We'll get in there. I haven't been to Miami. I'm pretty, next time in Miami, I will definitely make time in my schedule to get in there. I'll be in studio and we'll see how it plays out. But no matter what, I'll be kicking it a little bit. I'll get to holler fresh for a little bit. I'll turn on the camera and do a quick little vlog. Without a doubt, but I appreciate that, bro. And I appreciate you, man. Shout out to you, man. You just gonna keep talking it up, bro. Like I said, bro, I don't mind the whole red pill moniker. I don't mind that at all. But when I talk red pill, man, it's total red pill. It's how you see the entire world, bro. Not just dating and all that. You know what I mean? But not just politics, man, but everything, bro. Everything. We got to do better. We just got to do better, man. And we can see with our own eyes what the cops were out there doing. I've known this my whole life. Now with body cams and all these other cameras, everyone else gets to see what we've already known. This ain't new to us, but we need law enforcement. We got to have them. Can't have a functioning society without them. Someone's got to uphold the law. So I just think we should have this conversation. I appreciate y'all, man. So let me run over here and holler at Sister Raging Tomatoes, man. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for rocking out with me. Y'all know what we do. I'll be back tomorrow, bro. We'll be back in our normal time, 6 p.m. Tomorrow. And we're going to be talking about the economy. We're going to be talking about George Gammon. I'm going to react to the video he put out today. We're going to also have some stuff from Danielle DiMartino Booth as well. The talking heads, bro, they're all starting to say the same thing. They're like, you know what I mean? Maybe the economy isn't as great as we think it is. And also there's a Bloomberg Opinion. There's a video from Bloomberg Opinion that I want us to watch and react to. It's going to open your eyes to a lot of things. You know what I mean? So I appreciate y'all, bro, but I got to run. Y'all be safe where you are. Y'all know what it is. I'm DL Saint. This is I Really Want to Know podcast. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty. Darn, that's the end.